In the heart of São Paulo, beneath the sprawling skyline and restless traffic, a hush fell over the city square this week. Thousands of people, young and old, rich and poor, of all faiths and backgrounds, gathered in what has become one of the most powerful demonstrations in recent memory. It was not a political rally. It was not a call for vengeance or power. It was a memorial, a candlelit sea of sorrow and solidarity, a collective cry for the children lost in Gaza, Israel, and Brazil itself. The air was heavy with emotion. Candles flickered like trembling stars across the plaza. Soft sobs could be heard as people laid down tiny pairs of shoes, teddy bears, and handwritten notes in front of a growing wall of flowers and posters. Children's drawings lined the sidewalks, images of hearts, doves, and smiling faces, each one a reminder of what the world is losing: innocence. Banners fluttered in the warm night breeze. On them were written words that transcended borders and languages. Every child deserves to live. Peace has no borders. Across Brazil, the movement spread like wildfire. Artists, teachers, doctors, families, and students stood side by side, a mosaic of humanity, united not by nationality or religion, but by grief and compassion. In a country that has faced its own struggles with poverty, violence, and inequality, Brazilians felt an unmistakable connection to the children suffering abroad. Many parents said the same thing in different ways. When I see a child suffering in Gaza, I see my own child. For them, this was more than empathy, it was identification. What began as a small vigil organized by local activists quickly grew into a national moment of reflection. Within hours, social media filled with videos of candlelit crowds singing songs of hope, while city halls across Brazil lit their facades in white and green for peace. In São Paulo Square, the sound of music carried through the night. A children's choir, dressed in white, began to sing John Lennon's timeless song, Imagine. As their soft voices rose, imagine all the people living life in peace. The crowd joined in, thousands of voices echoing through the city streets. People held each other's hands. Some wept, some prayed, others simply stood in silence, staring at the candles and the names written on the ground. The organizers of the protest said the idea came after seeing images from Gaza circulate online. Schools turned into rubble, hospitals overflowing, and terrified children clutching each other in bombed-out streets. But they also included Israeli and Brazilian children in their memorial, victims of violence, accidents, and neglect. To make one clear statement: no child's life is worth more than another's. They refused to let politics divide grief. As one volunteer explained, this isn't about taking sides in a war. This is about taking the side of life. The scene itself was deeply symbolic. Among the crowd, religious leaders from multiple faiths, priests, rabbis, imams, and Buddhist monks stood together. They held hands, offering prayers in different languages, but sharing one message: peace. Nearby, university students waved the flags of Brazil, Palestine, and Israel side by side. A powerful act of defiance against division and hatred. Artists painted murals on the walls surrounding the square, angels with children from Gaza, Tel Aviv, and Rio de Janeiro in their arms, surrounded by olive branches. The murals glowed under the city lights, whispering a message of unity. Government officials also took notice. Members from several political parties attended the gathering, their faces somber. One senator stepped forward and said into the microphone, "We are not here to pick sides in a war. We are here to pick the side of peace, the side of life." The crowd erupted in applause. Representatives from Amnesty International Brazil and UNICEF addressed the audience, reminding everyone that children are the first victims of every conflict and the least responsible for it. They spoke of how war, no matter where it happens, leaves scars that last generations. Behind the main stage, giant screens displayed powerful footage: Gaza's shattered schools and burning streets, Israeli hospitals treating injured children, Brazilian families lighting candles for peace. Every few minutes, the speakers read out the names of children from all three countries, their ages, their dreams, their favorite colors, followed by the word, gone. The square grew quieter with each name. Some people dropped to their knees. Others covered their faces in tears. It was no longer a protest. It was a mass mourning ritual, a global eulogy. As the sun dipped below the skyline, the square transformed into a glowing field of light. Thousands of candles illuminated the faces of mothers holding photographs of their lost sons and daughters. One mother whispered, "I didn't come here to cry for my child. I came here to make sure no mother has to cry again." Her words spread through the crowd like an echo. As night deepened, a sense of unity filled the air. Brazilians began chanting, "Peace for all children! Stop the killing! Start the healing!" The chants reverberated across the plaza, carried by the rhythm of drums and the hum of solidarity. In Rio de Janeiro, thousands gathered along Copacabana beach, forming the outline of a massive dove using candles and flowers. The image, captured by drones, became a viral symbol of hope. In Brasilia, students placed white roses in front of the National Congress, urging lawmakers to speak for peace. Artists projected the words, "Paz agora," peace now, onto government buildings in giant letters of light. But the impact didn't stop there. Within days, similar vigils appeared in Buenos Aires, Lisbon, Cape Town, and Jakarta, each one inspired by Brazil's memorial. The message spread online under the hashtag #FetChildrenOfPeace, quickly trending across multiple countries. Brazilians, known for their empathy and warmth, had reminded the world of something simple yet profound. Even when politics fail, humanity can still speak. Among the most moving moments of the night came when a woman from Gaza, now living in Brazil, took the stage. She held up a small photograph, her son, smiling in a blue shirt. Her voice trembled as she said, "War took everything from me, my home, my husband, my child. But tonight, I see hope again. Brazil showed me that humanity still exists." The crowd fell silent. Many wept openly. When she finished speaking, they stood and applauded for several minutes straight. Her tears became everyone's tears. As the ceremony neared its end, the organizers prepared a final act. From the center of the square, thousands of paper lanterns were lit and released into the sky. Each lantern represented a child's soul, from Gaza, Israel, or Brazil, rising gently toward the stars. As the lights floated upward, the entire square watched in silence. The sky above Sao Paulo became a constellation of sorrow and hope. A message appeared on the main screen: "Let the children live. Let peace begin." Reporters covering the event said it was unlike any protest they had seen before. There was no anger, no shouting, no political flags, only unity. Only the desperate longing of people tired of watching children die for reasons they do not understand. This movement in Brazil reminded the world that compassion is a form of resistance. Since that night, donations have poured in from across Brazil to support humanitarian aid organizations working in conflict zones. Musicians, influencers, and athletes have shared messages of solidarity, urging an end to the violence. In schools, teachers have begun holding peace lessons, encouraging children to write letters to those suffering in war-torn regions. One student wrote, "Dear child in Gaza, I don't know your name, but I hope you can smile again soon. I will keep lighting a candle for you." That letter, like so many others, was posted at the memorial wall, now covered with thousands of messages of love. Experts say the Brazilian protest may signal a shift in how people around the world respond to conflict, not through politics or protest alone, but through human connection. Sociologists called it a people's diplomacy, where compassion crosses the boundaries that governments create. For Brazil, a nation often divided by its own internal struggles, this became a moment of collective healing, a reminder that peace starts with empathy. As the last candles burned low, a soft rain began to fall, as if the heavens themselves joined in mourning. But no one left. Instead, people lifted their faces toward the rain, letting it mix with their tears. It was as if the city itself was weeping and cleansing. By dawn, the square was quiet again. The candles had melted, the shoes were soaked, and the murals still glowed faintly under the streetlights. But something had changed. Something had been awakened, not only in Brazil, but in the hearts of those who watched from afar. For once, amid all the divisions, hatred, and endless cycles of retaliation, the message was clear: peace is not a political agenda. It's a moral necessity. And as one banner read, waving softly in the morning breeze, the world doesn't need more soldiers. It needs more mothers. From Sao Paulo to Gaza, from Tel Aviv to Rio, the message continues to spread: let the children live. Let peace begin. Because every time a candle is lit in remembrance, it becomes a small act of defiance against darkness, a small declaration that love still has a voice in this world.